department store connected with photography, and I was always in front of Excel sheets, thinking about like how to make the next month's sale better and bigger. So now I'm thinking, no, the Excel sheet is very important for me, but at the same time, I want thank you very much. I personally have a kind of a good bonding with Nikon. I started my career over here in Bergman Center when after I came from like India for 10 years of serving in Indian Air Force as a photographer. So 2008 to 2014, I worked as a brand manager for Nikon. But iBrandConnect is a totally independent platform. Today, we are honored by the support of Nikon. And today, we have my dear friend, Eddie Lau. I'm so happy to have him because I met him in Qatar last week. We were in Qatar and I saw a glance of him. Again, iBrandConnect, like we are not only here in UAE, we are in GCC. So Qatar Photography Center, they always invite us for any of their event, like their Surah event. I saw a glance of him. I couldn't go and meet him, to be frank.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know because it was a lot of like it was busy.
Yeah, it was
I don't
so
know,
many.
so
There were
busy,
so many people around.
so many people around, and like even for us, like there many people came into our place, and we were so busy. So I want to hear a lot of exploring the technical world of videography. He is an amazing guy because I was watching. To be frank, I was watching your session over there. There are a lot of people watching there in Qatar Photography Center, Surah Forum, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you will be really enjoying tonight. And one more announcement which I have is like, whoever came on your car, so we can give a small slip, there, so you can always be here. And I will ask these guys also to keep this food for some more time. Like whenever you want to have a little bit more, just go grab it and you can ask for some tea, coffee, everything, okay? And let us enjoy tonight's speech. Thanks, my dear.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I was still thinking about the parking, so good thing it was answered already.
You're worried about that.
Yes. Okay. May I ask, is it okay? May I ask all the other guys to sit in front, just to make it a little bit more, interactive for everyone? I'm gonna assure you this will be a roller coaster for you guys. Please, come on. For the other guys, come. Please, come, move forward, please. Is it okay? So it will be, most of the guys are actually shy. Strong lady came in. Okay, so once again, thank you very much, Haji. And thank you, Deacon, for inviting me again for this event. Ramadan Kareem, everyone, and welcome to the iBrandConnect, and welcome to our workshop exploring the technical world of videography. So tonight, I won't be talking about creative stuff. because I know you guys are more creative than me, to be honest. I'm an engineer in my profession. So my, my creativity isn't that much. But like most of you, I am also a photographer. Okay, I've been in several genre. Okay, wildlife, portrait, cityscape, landscape, so many things. And they were all paid, by the way. So, but now I'm into events because I see the it's too crowded on so many other places. So I decided to go into events and more into live streaming. I took advantage of me being an engineer because I know I'm a broadcast engineer. So I know how things works when it comes to live streaming, like what we are doing now on Facebook and YouTube, I believe. Okay, um, so tonight's topic would be the science of video formats. There will be two topics. Okay, so the resolution, bitrate, and frame rate, how format and codec works for videography. Um, I'll be giving you some tips about video editing workflow, okay, and video quality trade-offs for editors, okay. Okay, so later on we will have a demonstration also on how we will do live streaming and what are the parameters that we need to consider when it comes to live streaming. Is it all right with you guys? So, science of videography is quite a broad topic. So I tried to make it as palatable as possible for everyone because when we say technical, we talk about math, we talk about so many things that many people try to escape about it. Okay? So I'll make it easier for everyone to understand. Okay. So tonight I will first run you through the content life cycle. Each and every time we do our videography, it always goes through this kind of life cycle. Okay, you capture, you post process, you upload or stream, and it will be received by your target audience. But somehow, on the first and second part of our life cycle, there are so many processes that need. Okay, so before you even consider recording in the future, you would always remember me about this. Okay? So, by the way, who are here photographers who are trying to be videographers or doing the transition from photographers to videography? Anyone here? Okay, there's a lot here. Thank you. Thank you. So, this session is for you guys. Okay, so we will be talking first about how resolution works, bit depth, and frame rate. Resolution is a very easy topic, okay? So we will start from the easiest up to the quite the meaty part, okay? So resolution, okay? Resolution is the amount of pixels that can be placed inside your screen. It can be like this, okay? Most of the resolutions that we are aware about when we were younger were 240p, 350 on our mobile devices, old things. But now, 1080p is by far maybe the basic resolution for each and every device that we are having now, right? Like TV screens at home, most of them are actually 1080p or full HD. Okay, so they look like this. Okay, for each and every screens that we have, full HD is made out of 2 megapixel. Okay, 2 megapixel seems 2 million, seems to be huge, but actually it is not. So then we are having 4K, which is somehow widely available now in the market. Bring you somewhere. Just imagine you are this guy. Okay? I want to bring you to the quantum realm of videography. I want you to think, go towards the quantum realm and be like as small as Ant-Man. Anyone who watched here Ant-Man? Quantum Mania? Okay, that's good. So imagine that this is the size of 1 pixel out of 33 million pixels. Okay? Imagine that. Okay? So we are now in the quantum realm. So each and every pixel is actually composed of, the white pixel is composed of three colors. Okay? Red, green, and blue. Okay. Let's take the example of a 12-bit. A 12-bit pixel. Okay? So 12-bit is actually a logarithmic function in mathematics. I don't want to speak about mathematics here, but it's like saying that 12 is, in 1 bit, is composed of one color and one luminance, brightness. Okay? That luminance and chrominance, which is the color, brightness and color, you multiply it 12 times to the exponent of 12. Okay, so 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 up to the 12th power, you'll get the 12 bit. Okay, it means that it is so compressed that the color would be dense when it comes to selection of one color to another when it is shifting. Okay, so each and every 12 bit will be equal to 4,000 is 8-bit. That's very famous when it comes to commercial models of DSLRs and cameras. Okay, so that's going to be 16.77 million possible colors. Imagine those colors are huge. But if you compare this into a, you know, three-dimensional view, we are still in the quantum realm, okay? If you compare among those 3-bit depth variables, 8-bit would look like this. Okay, there are so many spaces between them when it comes to color selection. While the 10-bit is a little closer to each other. You may end up a little bit, having so many choices. But on the 12-bit, they are so dense that you could no longer see the spaces between each and every selection of colors. Because there are how many possible colors? 70, 78 billion possible colors. Imagine that. So, in the combination of these colors, if you take a look how small is 8-bit, you will be able to identify one issue in this. Do you see any issue on these colors here, right? You will be able to see the so-called banding, okay? Because why banding is happening? You saw the four-dimensional view of the pixel a while ago. There are so many spaces on 8-bit that why the banding is created, it's because which works like this. Okay, it means that remember a while ago, one bit is equivalent to chroma and luminance, right? Chroma and luma, the color and the brightness. Okay, so it means that this is the 33 million, imagine. And each and every 4 pixels would be coming up with chroma and luma, okay, the color and the brightness. If you are recording at 444, which is not commercially available actually on cameras, okay, then your data would be so much. It's going to be filling up your whole storage device. Maybe a 1 terabyte would be recording only for 30 minutes, like that. Yes. Okay. So while the other one for 422, which is widely available in the market also, it means that each and every chroma information is being placed to another because that chroma is being removed. So this chroma here, the 2 other guys here, will disregard its color and copy that information from the other one, from the right side, or from your left side, by the way. Okay? Is this 422 or 420? Right? So now you know how it means, right? Then the quality, the bit depth is there. Okay, so you have to really, think about this. Okay, so that's for the bit. Okay, let's go to the frame rate. Okay, frame rate is the number of images that you can achieve for your recording in each and every second of your capture. Okay, that's going to be looking like this. Okay, so if this is your 1 second from the left side to the right side, if you are recording at 50 frames per second, it means that you have 50 images within 1 second. And the more it go less, let's say 25 frames per second, it's gonna be a little lower when it comes to frame rate. I'm gonna show you some of the few examples of famous frame rate that you can see in cameras. Okay, you can have 24, 25, 30, and up to 120. These are widely available on most of the DSLRs. 24 is actually, okay, 24 is actually used in cinemas because that perception of our eyes is simulated by a 24 frames per second. This is why it started out on cinemas on 24 frames per second, right? So 30 when television was introduced, okay? And 60 when full HD was introduced. Netflix, Amazon, all those streaming sites, and YouTube. Now, most of it work. Okay? Consider that it is like a container is the format that we use to say it in layman's term. Okay? So, most of them are being identified by .mov from Windows, Microsoft. Okay, so consider that this is a cup. Container is a cup, okay? And what you fill in is actually the information of the video and audio, which is the so-called codec, okay? Codec is derived from the word compress and decompress. So that technology was made available on an MPEG format normally when it comes to compression. They are the most famous in making compression. Okay, so it's derived from the word compress and decompress. Okay, so we have already our capture on the first mile. We are just on the beginning of the of the life cycle. So what about when it comes to post processing? Okay, now this is where the magic happens. Okay, where you do your editing, when you do your post processing, right? So there are different types of codecs. When you are an editor, you should know this by heart, okay? Because this is why the most important part when it comes to editing or post-processing. So there are different codecs like H.264, AVC, which is Advanced Video Coding, the very first generation of MPEG compressed video up after MPEG 2. Okay, so H.264 is very, very widely used now. And I think every one of you knows about this. H.265 is one of the most efficient compression being, and DNX is Avid, okay? Cinemaform is GoPro, and XDCam HD is Sony. So these mezzanine formats are actually the one being used by studios, professional studios, television studios. So when you are, let's say, you wanted to be shifting from being a photographer to videographer, these things are the things that you need to know by heart because you will be dealing with this when you are an editor, okay? When you capture shots and do you remember the life cycle which I was talking about? From the beginning of your capture up to the post-process, you should interconnect all those ideas, all those techniques from the beginning up to the post-processing. Okay? So there are, those good and bad things about this. You'll see there is they are huge in file size. Huge that sometimes, as I said a while ago, 1 terabyte would only be recording for 30 minutes. Imagine that, right? So they are huge. So why H.264 is bad when it comes to, or the compressed codec when it comes to video editing? I'm gonna show you why. Okay, so let's say this is your first 5 frames of your video. Okay, why it is too bad? It's because what happens is it creates a different copies, the different copies of frames when it comes to your recording and execution part. When you say execution part, when you do post-processing. I'm gonna tell you it in a little while, but before that, H.264 or the GUP codecs, the so-called group of pictures compression, is composed of intraframe, the predictive, and bi-directional would be the predictive frame. So what it does is it copies this one, copies whatever was the changes that made from this frame. So what happens during the editing process? When you do rendering, your PC, your computer would gonna do this job for you because it's gonna fill up all those missing frames, all the data that wasn't there, they're gonna recreate that for you. Okay? Did I make myself clear? So that copies of that, it will, so what it means is all the frames from the first second up to the X number of second, whether it is 30 frames, 50 or 60 or 120, each and every missing captures, then that's gonna, it will not work. That's not gonna work, okay? So let's continue. So compressed codecs, I'm not saying it's bad, okay? Because if it was bad, if the compressed codec is bad, we won't have DSLR cameras because the first generation of DSLR cameras was made out of compressed video capture. Okay? We won't have streaming services like Netflix, like Facebook, like Amazon, all those streaming giants. We won't have it because they are using this kind of streaming. Okay? Social media platforms also, right? It's just that, mezzanine format is good because they are designed for doing post-processing and video editing, okay? Though they are really huge when it comes to file size. Okay, I like how Nikon have done it because in the past, we used to have this. I used to use the Atomos recording device into my Z6. It was configured to record the ProRes RAW, okay? But when Z9 came, it changed a lot of things. This was a game changer for me. And I was one of the first guys who tested the Z9, and I was so impressed by the way it captures images when it comes to video. Okay, the things made it this way. Okay, so this is just a 1-minute video. Okay, while you are watching this video, I'll just gonna gulp my water for a while. Okay, then enjoy. So that was my wife, the boss of the family. Okay, so it was originally when I was conceptualizing, it was a different shot. I was supposed to shoot my daughter, but when she went to the book area of MBRL, I couldn't find her anymore, and because she was so engaged the book, and I couldn't. The original concept wasn't that; it was something else. But I ended up like this, and asked my wife, "Come on, I gotta test the camera. I wanna have a subject." So that's it. Okay, so why I'm telling you this, why I'm showing you that, because you know what? Not everyone has a good computer. When you want to start videography, you need to post-process each and every capture that you have, right? So not everyone has a, you know, good performing computer. So what are the hacks that you feel need to be done here? So I've been doing so many videos also. I've been into different genres, as I said a while ago. So, but I feel for me, events is one of my favorite because it is very dynamic. You don't have the subject in similar ways. It's changing landscape for me. Okay, so there is a hack for that. Okay, although the recommended power for your PC would be at least you have an i7. So there are different tricks to do when you don't have that kind of PC. Okay, one of these is when you do your ingestion, or we call it import of all your, mezzanine files. What you can do is after importing all those videos, you can create a so-called proxy. Okay, it means that it has a smaller copies of your videos that you can easily create cuts and edits on that one. Okay, so this is what I used to do before because I didn't get a very good computer when I was starting way back in 10 years back, you know. So, okay, when you go back to there, mezzanine, you do the color correction. The workflow which I have been using for quite some time now, and I find it efficient for me, is this one. If I do a video processing with no narration or highlights video per se, okay? First of all, my workflow would look like this. I set my house format along with the codec, of course. So let's say you've already shot everything, okay? You already have the concept. You already have everything in mind. So what happened is I set my music immediately. Before even creating a video, you already have that music in your mind because that's going to be your baseline for your video if you don't have a voiceover or a narration. So what happens if you go back and forth, back and forth? So with this kind of workflow, I can eliminate all those back and forth kind of things. Okay? The next one would be the color correction. Not all frames in your video would have the same exposure, the same white balance, especially for newbies, they will be recording in auto white balance. So each and every time they move somewhere, the white balance changes along with the temperature of the light. Okay, so after color correction, what I do is the color grading. May I ask you one thing? Can you exchange the color grading and the color correction? You cannot. You cannot, right? Because the color correction would be, if you do color grading immediately, you're gonna go haywire. Because if you don't correct your colors from one cuts to another, that's gonna be difficult for you. Okay, so color grading follows after color correction only. And the build the text. Text is a kind of graphics, okay? In the algorithm of the video editing, let's say Premiere, FCP, or DaVinci, text are graphics. So it's quite heavier when you put immediate graphics on the first part of your editing journey that you're gonna go, why my computer is scrolling when I do my cuts, when I do my build-ups. Because text are graphics. It's heavy on your system. Okay, so I put them at the very last part. So what about if, so I do my export after that. Okay, so what about if this video that you are making and the background music and everything? Because see, when you build your text, sometimes it goes along with the whoosh, right? It goes along with the sound effects. So that sound effects, I only put that right after I build everything. Once I finalize everything, the the last part would be the scoring and the music. Because if you do it immediately at the beginning, then you gotta be changing one every now and then. Every now and then you'll be changing. Okay? So, and then I do my export. So, in the world of post-processing, I have, by experience, I came up with my trade-offs also. Okay? And these are my trade-offs. Okay? These are my triangle of trade-offs. Okay? For me, quality is the king. Okay? That's going to be my primary priority for each and every video that I create. So, if I choose to have it in a, let's say, reduced file, I'm going to sacrifice a better editing journey. Because if I don't have that much of storage for my computer when I go for editing, then that's going to be difficult for me because let's say you have so much data that you're going to do for editing, then it might not be, you know, ingested into your PC because you don't have that much of space. So if you sacrifice that, you have to be aware that your editing journey would be horrible. Okay? So, but if you choose to have a better editing procedure or journey, then having that reduced file, take that away from your mind because that's going to be really, these platforms will recompress your video and make it space efficient for them. So let's say if you are pumping, exporting a video lower than what you are expecting, try to think that later on it might have a bad quality when it's being uploaded into YouTube platform because they will recompress it from their end because they have their own codec functionality, of course. Okay, so that is the prime thing that you have to consider as always. Try to upload the highest quality and bitrate possible. But guys, this is a changing landscape, by the way. Every now and then, they go higher. They go higher. Maybe the quality that you are, but that I know nowadays, may be a little outdated. Because every now and then, those formats and those codecs could go up instead of going down. They will always go up. Now in YouTube, there is 8K, right? There is 8K. So imagine that. So maybe next time, maybe higher when it comes to resolution. Okay? So, any question before we go to the next? Any question before we go to the next? This one?
Any particular storage we need to have for that item?
Sorry?
Storage in the camera.
Storage for the camera, when you say the size, you mean? Or
Type of cards.
the types of card are actually different. Like me, I'm using Z6. It's an XQD 400 Mbps to 500 Mbps of speed. So depending on what kind of camera do you have, because there are SD kind of sticks, right? So it depends on what, but try to have the fastest transfer speed. It's always better. 144 Mbps. That's the basic, the lowest transfer rate when it comes. I'm gonna, guys, may I have one? Let's do some live demo. Okay, I have here, because I want you guys to understand how this is being applied on an actual scenario. how bitrate, how resolution is being applied when it comes to live streaming. Okay, so okay, so as the let's wait for a while. Let me just do some sort of adjustment here. I think that's better. Okay, so um, live streaming is sometimes a very complex kind of platform. There are so many people sometimes who does live streaming and then ending up a very epic fail, epic failure. So I'm gonna give you some ideas. Maybe in the future you will be doing some live streaming using a DSLRs. Okay, so this is how I do it. So I make sure that this follows my rule when it comes to live streaming. Okay, I'm gonna give you. Okay, that's live for now, but I'm gonna give you some footnotes first. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so live streaming is a complex world actually that is simplified nowadays. I always have my philosophy when it comes to live streaming. I do a lot of this, by the way. So first of all, I do my preparation. Okay, and after that, I need to make sure that I enrich my data that I am gathering at, and then I do my delivery. These are the three philosophy that I used to maintain when I do my live streaming. So what are those? When I prepare, I have to make sure that my camera resolution, my settings, remember the bitrate, the frame rate, and all those three major components when it comes to resolution has to be followed by me. Okay. Each and every time I do my live streaming, I have to make sure that all of us, including my cameraman, has intercoms. Okay, because it's gonna guide them on where you want them to be. Because if they don't have communication, they are like chickens, roaming around the event area doing, I don't know, doing whatsoever. So they need to be directed accordingly. So in that sense, communication is by far one of the most back-end, important stuff that you need to secure. So if I do my enrichment when it comes to live streaming, I have to make sure that branding is there. It's gonna look professional, by the way. And my choices for multi-screen would be a consideration also because let's say if a person doing speech and you want to showcase some things, meaning encoding, it is normally specified in bit rates, right? But I'm gonna show you in a little while, okay? Live platform is the next that I consider when it comes to delivery. Where I am going to do live. Is it on Facebook? Is it on YouTube? So that I have to consider because there are limitations also. In YouTube, I can have 4K live, but in Facebook, I cannot. It's only 1080p or full HD, right? So, and the last but not the least, the most important part is this beast here, the network connectivity. Network connectivity will be the most important part because even if you have everything without this, without network connectivity, you cannot go live, right? Simple logic, of course. Okay. Um, I've been into several kind of live streamings, and thanks to my guys, they are always with me in all of our gigs. We do some big live events. Okay, so many live events. We are not that famous, but we are making money out of it. So sorry, just joking. And of course, everyone is because it's there. It's a matured invention. It's a matured technology where you can enjoy and get the benefit out of it. Okay, so anyway, let's do live streaming now. Okay, so going back, can I have this. Okay, I think I don't have the. Okay, let's. The battery just just exhausted. Okay. I gotta get another battery for this. Sorry about the. Okay, because it's been open for a long time, but normally the battery would last for 2 hours. So it's been open for since we came. So I'm going to show you some settings. Okay, I'm going to show you the user interface of one of the device that I used to use on live streaming, which is the YOLO box. Okay, I'm going to turn on. See, this is the user interface of a YOLO box Pro. Okay, so what I used to do is I need to make sure that all my inputs are there now. So if you take a look here, I'm going to show you the camera. You can move on the other side if you want. So see how it moves. Because it's wireless, they can be flexible. They can go anywhere they want. They can go to the other side of Burjuman, by the way. It's an amazing technology of wireless. So what I'm saying here is Jin Saniko. So see, if I'm speaking in front of it, then that branding would be showing professionally, right? So if you want some other things like this, right? That's based on my recent project a while ago. So I am using it as a specimen only. Okay, but disclaimer: this is not about them. Okay, so imagine how flexible is it. So when you do branding on it, so I can also put another one. By the way, let's say if the guy is having a speech, so I can have my double screen, which I can actually select when it comes to input. Okay, when let's say I want to have my branding like this. Okay, so for now I don't have the input yet, but I can select that. Okay, so if let's say I want to have that PIP, okay, I could simply do a reselection of my videos or inputs with our. Let's say if you want to change the background, you can do it by just simply changing the colors out of it. Okay, so let's say if I want to create a, let's say, okay, I can, let me delete it for now. Okay, we will do another one. Okay, so let's have some sort, you can see my UI, right? This is very flexible. You can play around, that's it. See, how easy is it? And then I can have my lower thirds. Okay, sorry about that. This one should supposed to be this one, right? So if you go like that, so you can you can easily do it. But what I'm saying here is when you do enrichment, okay, when you do enrichment, you have to prepare all those graphical designs and attributes to make your live stream a little more presentable for everyone watching your stream. Okay? Okay? So what I will do next is how about the encoding process? I'm gonna put this live, by the way. There is an encoding considerations here, which I wanna show you, and I want you to understand this because this was part of the first topic which I have shown you, right? So here, the video settings, you are seeing it here, right? So sorry, I need to go to the other side of this live stream tool, okay, which is YOLO Box Pro. Okay, I'm gonna make another settings for the live stream, okay? Because a while ago we are on the other monitoring side of the streaming, okay? So let's say this is a test, okay, done. Then I I can immediately go live after this. Okay, so this is my dimension now for going live streaming. Okay, let me turn this on. So hang on, I think it would go. Okay. It went now. Okay, now we are live in a few minutes. Okay, let me just put this here. Okay. Okay, can you face the camera to the audience, please? So now I'm live. Okay. So I'm having 5. It's too low, by the way. You can see it here, by the way. See 808 kbps. That's too low. I'm live, but I want to see it here, but it's not go. Here. Okay. See? Now you're live. See how easy is it? So the point here is you have to follow all those. See, it's having a lag because it's the speed of, imagine that 931 kbps. That's too low for a live streaming on full HD. I'm encoding on full HD, so it's a little difficult for me. See, it frozen. It's frozen now because the lag is too. I mean, the highway that we are going through is too narrow. This is it. It's like the explanation here is the truck is going through, and the street is quite congested. That's why you go very very slow. Okay, now it's here. Okay, now it gained the traction of the live. Okay, even here. I still. Okay, yes, you have a question. Okay, this is not a speed. This is a drop frame. On here. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the explore around, but those are the things that you can start with when you want to do videography. Okay? So, sorry? Oh, okay. Anyway, it's okay. It's okay. So, I'm I'm gonna go back to the presentation. Okay, for the so on the last part of our, so let me stop my transmission because it's not it's still frozen until now. See, it's still frozen until now. So sorry for that because the speed is quite a little challenging for us. Okay, so okay, topic for tonight. So science of videography, we've discussed about all those things about resolution, bit depth, and frame rate, how formats and codecs work, okay? And video editing, I hope you guys, when you start your video editing journey, you could, those takeaway for, how to start with your video editing may help somehow along the way when you start your editing journey. And of course, video quality trade-offs, you have to keep that in mind, okay? So for the live streaming, we've done, it wasn't perfect, by the way. Sorry about that, but somehow I've shown you the concept of how it should work, okay? The connection, network connection is a little challenging here because this is not, we are not from here. We could have done it better, okay? So, okay, before we conclude of tonight's session, um, I am open for Q&A. So any questions, anything in mind, anything, the thoughts that have been, you've been keeping it from the start of the session. Okay, any question? I think, okay, go ahead, mom. Yes, yes. Actually, you can on the other side, yes. I gotta tell you the price later on, and you can ask Shaji when it comes to price. But for beginners, this is really because YOLO Box Pro is by far one of, I should say, one of the inventions that I truly like. That's why I'm using it now. By experience, it creates it, the efficiency of setting up things, of just doing it in UI, user interface of this box. It's eases a lot of pain when it comes to, usability. So it's not. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying I use it because I like it personally. Okay. Anything else?
14-bit is like video call. 14-bit.
14-bit. Okay, that's gonna be huge. We don't have 14-bit of video when it comes to DSLRs. Anyone knows 14-bit of bit depth? Now Z6 is up to 10-bit. I am using C6, the one that you are seeing roaming around. It is upgraded version. It has the raw capability of recording analog and ProRes RAW. But you need to get that HDMI output and put it into an external recording device like Atomos. Okay, before I use Ninja, Atomos Ninja, to record that HDMI output for me to achieve that 10-bit and NLAG features when it comes to capture. So for now, only photography. Photography now, it's widely available also. 14-bit, right, for photographers? You have that 14-bit of a color space, right? But for video, the videography keeps, evolving, and hopefully,
If AD PEM is like, let us do a master class with AD. What do you guys think? This is just a kind of, like a teaser.
yes.
And let us do a one full day of session with all these practical things connected. Like let us plan something like that.
Actually, I have different modules of trainings for Nikon, up to the basic parts of non-video